Hello, I am Emil Holt, and I'm a level design student at the Game Assembly, and this is my video about an Elder Scrolls dungeon I made. We'll go through the thought and the work process from start till end. Before I decided how I wanted my dungeon to look like, I wanted to decide for which of the many themes in the world of Skyrim I wanted to pick from. I decided on picking the Dwemer setting, as I remember when playing the game, these were the most memorable and awesome dungeons of the game, with its gold decoration, massive halls, and steam pipes. Next, I decided for a story behind the dungeon. It was going to be about a rich dwemer who took all of his treasures with him to his grave, distributing it out in his dungeon, where the deeper someone would get, the more they would obtain. After making a simple map design of my level, planning out each room of trial, I boxed out the whole dungeon to get a sense of how big it is and edited it to get into proportional sizes. Once I was pleased with my dungeon's layout, I started to look at other dungeons made by Bethesda's level designers in Skyrim to get an idea of how they worked. They've been very clever, reusing objects to create new decorations out of it. Since this map was going to get feedback from the player community, I wanted to give the dungeons some familiarity in design decisions. Therefore, I used the techniques I saw being used in other dungeons originally made for Skyrim. Once decorations were placed out, it was time to decide where to place out enemies and traps. This was the most fun part to work with, as I already had in mind how I wanted things placed out. The first room was going to be occupied by bandits that I say sheltered and made it their own place, ransacking the room and using one of the chests as their personal stash. The leader of them, who wields a looted wormer weapon, had the key needed to the next room. The following room is a gauntlet, full of devious traps and a small arena-like section we'll have to face off against multiple enemies. Being both careful and observant will help the player to get through this part. After a gauntlet, the player is greatly rewarded with potions for both health, magic, and stamina, letting the player take a break before they step into the next challenge. The next room features 4 pillars and a single pipe cap in front of them. This room was made with the mind of new players who are yet experienced dwermers to fight against possibly their first sphere, a robot in the shape of a ball that will transform into a more humanoid being when aggroed. The next room is similar to the gauntlet, a room full of devious traps. The 2 ballistas at the beginning is the first signal to the player that this room might be dangerous for those who are not careful. The room afterwards have 4 or 5 pillars rotating, making the player to choose between running through the fire or slowly walk around the pillars between the flames and go through it unharmed. The large hall upcoming next got several monsters patrolling in it and some staying in their pipes. Once the player gets through it, they get to have a breather, enjoying a glorious view before stepping into the next area. This place is a small area with patrolling monsters and an optional route for some extra treasure. Afterwards, the player gets into another small room full of potions in preparations for the final room. The final room is another large hall with 2 inactive centurions and a chest in the middle. Once the player opens the chest, the centurions activates. Now, it's up to whether the player wants to fight off the centurions or make a run for it and leave the dungeon, since the key was stored in the chest among the final gold and the artifacts possessed by Orthim. I got some good feedback on the day I uploaded it on Steam Workshops. The people considered the dungeon to be well done and fun to play through. Traps were weak for high levels, and there were some technical problems such as complete dark rooms. However, I fixed these problems, and the community liked my fast fixing, now wanting higher rewards from the treasures, which was also easily done. The community was very supportive of the dungeon and seemed to be very pleased. Over the week, I had got over 1,500 viewers, 365 people who had downloaded it, and around 30 people who put it as their favorite. These were very pleasing numbers to me for being just up for a week. It also remained a constant top 6 popular throughout the week, and as high as it was as 3rd place during first day. The level can be found on Steam Workshop in the Skyrim mods as OrthimsTomb. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.